So if you're excited,
Come on, man.
if so,
If you exercise.
so if you're can we change it to hype? Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Nerd Central. I'm your host, Tyrell Childress, and let's kick it to the news. With a huge update, the writer's strike has tentatively ended after the Writers Guild of America East and West boards unanimously voted on the 26th of September to approve the new contract negotiated by the WGA and the AMPTP, and the green light has finally been given for writers to return to work, while also voting on ratifying the new contract.
I feel tentatively great. I mean, it's a tentative deal, so I'm feeling really good. Even if this deal goes through, we still have to get the actors paid, because our words are meaningless unless we have our talented friends out there putting them on the screen.
Among the gains the Guild outlined, the Guild obtained a 5% increase to minimum wages in the first year of the contract, an improved formula to calculate residuals for streaming shows, regulations, and guaranteed minimum employment for pre-green light mini-rooms, and much more. However, the battle in Hollywood is not over yet, as SAG-AFTRA has resumed negotiations on a new labor contract for actors.
It's hard to say, oh, the strike is over. Well, the strike isn't over because we still have days to wait to get it rectified and to get it voted on by the WGA members. And then there's the question of our strike.
While we're one step closer, there's still more work to be done.
1, 2, 3, 4!
You've read the comics, you've seen the movie, but now we get what we've all been waiting for, the anime. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is the show to keep an eye on as fans of the franchise finally get to see the art of the comics on the big screen. The show being another Netflix adaptation of a classic IP, we see the classic story of Scott Pilgrim getting into shenanigans with his buddies as he swoons for his one Ramona Flowers. So if you're hyped for Scott and the gang, check out Scott Pilgrim Takes Off when it drops on Netflix November 17th. That's all the time we have today, so let's drop in on some packs. BreAnna on Rumor Has It with some spicy tea on Joe Jonas. Then we have Joe Huber with Star Wars lore.
It's been a hot and cold ride for this power couple, and things are now starting to burn up on this week's episode of Rumor Has It. The celebrity power couple Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner were rumored to go their separate ways when Joe filed for divorce around September 1st, which left fans shocked. Both parties took to social media and posted a joint statement confirming that they had mutually decided to end their marriage after 4 years. Rumors of the divorce started in early September of 2023, when Joe claimed he had apparently seen footage via their Ring camera of Sophie doing or saying something that hugely influenced his decision to file for divorce, which led fans to wonder what exactly was on the video. A source close to Joe mentioned that the video showed Sophie bad-mouthing Joe to a friend, and he felt that that was the last straw in their marriage. A couple of weeks after Joe filed for divorce, Sophie, who is from the UK, filed a lawsuit against Joe for allegedly keeping the children away from their habitual home. The legal documents claim that Joe was withholding their children's passports in the US, where they and Sophie are currently situated so that they cannot return to the UK as they previously planned. Joe quickly claimed that he was unable to relocate the children without being in violation of their Florida court order. The two parties have been living in different states while going through the divorce. There has been some talk that Taylor Swift, who, if you guys didn't know, dated Joe Jonas back in November of 2009, is reportedly loaning her New York apartment to ex-boyfriend Joe Jonas's estranged wife, Sophie Turner, and their 2 young daughters. Taylor and Sophie have been spotted out going out on the town together in New York City and becoming close friends. When Taylor released Fearless, Taylor's version, she added a song on the track list from The Vault called Mr. Perfectly Fine. The song was rumored to be about Joe Jonas, and Sophie took to her Instagram story to post about Taylor's song saying, "It's not a bop." Both Joe and Sophie have praised Swift's music several times and have mentioned that they are on good terms with her. Now, was this the start of Taylor and Sophie's friendship? With all the rumors spreading around about their divorce, the Jonas Brothers have been performing around the world on their tour, also known as The Tour. While performing at their Los Angeles show, Joe addressed the crowd about the numerous reports that have made the headlines in recent days.
I just want to say, look, if you don't hear it from these lips, don't believe it, okay?
The Jonas Brothers tour kicked off in the summer of 2023. It will cover 35 American cities and will feature songs from their 5 most recent albums. That is all the time that we have for this week's episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment on what kind of tea you want spilled right here on Rumor Has It.
My name is Joe Huber, back with another episode of Star Wars Lore. Today we'll be discussing stormtroopers, different armor, and the uses for them. First, I will start out with discussing ranks, and then dive deeper into different unique types of troopers used by the Empire. Number 1. Rankings. With their all-white armor and standardized helmets, stormtroopers somehow come across even more indistinguishable than clones they replaced. However, given a closer examination, some differences do appear with the pauldrons they wore. Color-coded and worn over their left shoulder, the pauldrons showed their various ranks. Black meant the trooper was newly enlisted, white was for sergeants, orange and red were for their commanders. Though there have been Imperial officers such as Grand Admiral Thrawn who customized the symbols for his troopers' pauldron. In Thrawn's case, he had his stormtroopers wear a chimera on their pauldrons in honor of his flagship's name. Number 2. Enhanced vision. The stormtroopers' helmets were designed to enhance the vision of their users. The earlier models naturally had basic and streamlined functions like night vision, infrared, and standard heads-up display. The later models added onto those features, allowing greater precision for the targeting and even better enhanced vision. With these technological augmentations, stormtroopers usually had a better vision than their enemies. Number 3. Shock troopers. The best of the best become elite shock troopers. Unlike the standard stormtroopers, these warriors' armor had bright red markings, and their gear was also superior to your typical grunt stormtrooper. The shock troopers were deployed to hold the lines and make on-the-fly battle decisions. With their heavy blaster rifles and rocket launchers, they made short work of the Empire's enemies. Number 5. Flame troopers. Because of how effective flame troopers were in the Clone Wars, the Empire, and then later on, the First Order, decided to keep them around. The soldiers would be sent in to flush out or set afire enemies of the Empire with the deadly bursts of their flamethrowers. For backup, the flame troopers were accompanied by a contingent of quicker moving standard units of stormtroopers, as the equipment they carried was very cumbersome and thus made their movements sluggish. Number 6. Jump troopers. Jump troopers were a specialized type of stormtrooper equipped with a jetpack on their backs which they could use to get a better vantage point against their target from the air. Highly mobile and vital to any pincer maneuver, the jump troopers would catch their opponents off balance by flying behind their lines and assaulting them from the air, while the regular troopers charged with direct assault. Lastly, number 7. Death troopers. The most intimidating looking of all the stormtroopers, the Death Troopers are a part of Imperial intelligence, so they are not used on the front lines, but rather are sent on espionage missions for the Empire. In addition, they were also used as elite bodyguards for the Imperial officers, experts in stealth and a vast variety of weaponry, whatever was required to complete their objective, whether it be heavy weapons, marksman weapons, or even just direct hand-to-hand combat. The Death Trooper can handle it all. Did you know that they were exceptionally tall as well? Some of them even came close to Vader's height. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Star Wars Lore. I'm Joe Huber, and may the Force be with you.
The digital rain from the Matrix streams down the screen to represent the virtual environment. But the man behind the code, Simon Whiteley, says it's hiding a secret. Know what it is? During the break, take your guesses in the comments below.
Here at Tower Yearbook, we are a dedicated staff of photographers, designers, copywriters, and practicum students.
Our staff is a student-led, student-run media outlet, producing a book with over 300 pages. Here to pop out at any of our portrait or distribution events.
So stay tuned to our social media to see what's up.
Come check out Gen 2, your favorite place for all things gaming and rarely
Fireball related. We got packs about Fireball, Fireball, Fireball.
All right, if you say another Fireball, that's it.
Video games.
Okay, thank you.
Fireball.
Really?
Simon Whiteley revealed the origins behind the design in a 2017 interview and credited the design to the Matrix code to his wife, who's from Japan. Reasons being that he created the Matrix code out of Japanese cookbooks owned by his wife. Going on to say, without that code, there is no Matrix. Now, looking at our code, it seems like it's time for some packs. So, Olivia with Anime Stitch, then Kaden with Film Finds.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Anime Stitch. I'm your host, Olivia Williams, and this week we are traveling to the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. Let's get started. In the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, you meet the character Yuji Itadori, who is a very stubborn high schooler who ends up getting involved with a secret organization called the Jujutsu Sorcerers, who spend their lives protecting the world from these things called curses that are invisible to any human that is not a sorcerer. While fighting one of the said curses, Itadori decides to swallow an artifact that the curse was after, which wouldn't be that bad until you realize that the artifact that Itadori had swallowed was a finger from one of the strongest curses ever, named Sukuna. And once Itadori swallowed Sukuna's finger, it gave Sukuna the ability to take over Itadori's body when needed. And now, Itadori has been given the task of finding a way to get rid of Sukuna, even if that means taking his own life in the process. When it comes to anime versus manga, one of the biggest differences is the start of the anime, since it was supposed to be completely different from how you see it today. Because the manga was originally supposed to be a short story, but was changed into a full series after its first volume, Volume 0, gained a lot of popularity, where the main character actually isn't Itadori, but a character named Yuta. But the idea wasn't totally scrapped, because the original story idea was turned into a prequel of the current storyline. And Volume 0 was made into a movie, respectively called Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Another difference comes from the anime, in that the death of Itadori's grandpa impacts Itadori way more in the anime than it does in the manga. Because in the manga, they show that this is something that affects Itadori, but nothing else. But in the anime, it's brought up multiple times, and it shows him going through the grief process, and it honestly adds a lot more character to Itadori, which is a very nice touch. If I had to pick between the anime and the manga, this week I am going with the anime, because the anime brings more life into Jujutsu Kaisen than the manga, because the anime gives us way more interesting details than the manga does. Besides the instance with Itadori's grandpa, the anime gives us more details into relationships with other characters than the manga does. So, because of those reasons, I will have to go with the anime. But that's all the time I have for you guys for this week on Anime Stitch. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you guys will stick around for the next episode where I will be talking about Spy Family. See you then, guys. Bye-bye!
Hello everyone, my name is Caden Patrick and I'll be your host for Film Finds. I'll be reviewing films and their Easter eggs, as well as details you may have missed. Today's film is Ari Aster's Midsommar, or Midsommar, either pronunciation is correct. This movie came out in 2019 and is the 10th film Aster has directed. It grossed over a total of $47 million in box office sales and currently has a 7.1 on IMDb as well as an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. Midsommar is a folklore horror film that grapples with grief, relationship issues, and a pagan cult. As crazy as that sounds, it's become one of my favorite horror films and constantly sits in the back of my mind. Midsommar is generally unlike any other movie I've ever seen before and kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. So let's get to the finds. And of course, spoilers ahead. First up, Danny, played by Florence Pugh, has a photo of her on her parents' bedside table. We are shown her sleeping parents, and then the camera pans across and you can see a photo of Danny with flowers surrounding it. This detail foreshadows Danny becoming May Queen in the flower crown that she later wears. This is just one of the many foreshadowing details, with another one being a painting of a girl kissing a bear in Danny's room, referencing the Christian's death. The next find happens when Danny excuses herself from her friends to go to the bathroom during a bad drug trip. When looking in the mirror at herself, she sees a figure behind her that disappears the moment she turns around. This figure would be her sister, Terry, who took her own life as well as their parents at the beginning of the movie, leaving Danny as the sole survivor. This isn't the only time Terry makes an appearance after her death. After Danny wins May Queen and the Harga are carrying her, if you look in the trees in the background, you can see an outline of Terry's face.
Soon after the family tragedy, Christian and his friends are talking about their trip when Danny's family is brought up. One of Christian's friends, Pell, comforts Danny and mentions that his family died in a fire and he was taken in by the Harga. Pell, played by Willem Blumgren, doesn't go into detail on his parents' deaths, but it is likely they were sacrifices during the Midsommar festival, much like Christian. Pell plays a key role in putting Danny on the path to becoming May Queen. He sees Danny and Christian's relationship falling apart and takes advantage of her vulnerability, leading to her picking Christian for sacrifice. This last one is more of an explanation of the ending rather than an actual find. Because Danny becomes May Queen, she must pick between choosing to sacrifice one of the Harga that would be selected at random or Christian. She ends up picking Christian, which seals his fate that has been hinted at throughout the whole movie. As the building burns to the ground, we see Danny smile. In that moment, Danny realizes that she is free and has found a group of people who truly sympathize with her rather than ignore and pity her. She's found her new family. There's truly so much more I could say about this film, but I strongly recommend you go and give it a watch yourself and catch the things I didn't talk about. Well, that wraps up this episode, and I hope you found it enjoyable. Once again, my name is Caden Patrick, and I'll see you again in the next episode.
After the break, we get an interview with one of our veteran members who's doing things a bit differently this season.
In a land born of conflict, where the line between divine and demonic are blurred. Five legendary heroes must save the day. Or not.
I don't know what it's called. I come from the marsh, so I don't know what that.
Come watch Sulphur and Saloons on Wednesday at noon.
And we're back, and I'm here with one of our veteran members, BreAnna.
Hi, guys.
So I'm aware that you did have an internship this summer. You want to kind of talk about what that was?
Yeah, so I worked for Steel City Media in Kansas City, where I got to do like 50 plus concerts over the summer. Got to meet some country artists. It was a blast. I loved it.
That sounds awesome. And then for Rumor Has It, you guys talk about a lot of tea there, right? Where do you find all this stuff?
Well, if I tell you, everybody else would do it. I gotta keep it a secret. That's the tea.
Well, she's not wrong about that. Now, let's have some packs. Caleb with Real Recommendations takes a deep look into the thrilling world of the Boondock Saints. Then we'll cap off today's episode with a brand new pack from our newest member, Seth, with Movie Tea with Z. Take it away.
Welcome back to Real Recommendations, where we uncover cinematic gems that leave a lasting impact. Today, we're delving into the gritty world of vigilante justice and moral complexity with The Boondock Saints. Directed by Troy Duffy and released in 1999, this cult classic has earned its place in the hearts of action thriller fans. The film centers around the McManus brothers, Connor and Murphy,
I do believe the seniors finally got the point.
played by Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus. They're ordinary guys living in Boston until a fateful encounter with Russian mobsters pushes them to take matters into their own hands. What follows is a thrilling journey that explores the blurred lines between good and evil. What makes this film stand out is its distinctive tone. It combines intense action sequences with a darkly comedic touch. It's a film that doesn't take itself too seriously and adds an unexpected layer of charm to the story.
Are you sure?
And speaking of charm, Willem Dafoe's portrayal of FBI agent Paul Smecker is nothing short of mesmerizing. His quirky yet brilliant character adds depth and a touch of eccentricity to the narrative.
It makes me feel like river dancing.
Now obviously, I have to talk about the action sequences in this film. The Boondock Saints delivers some of the most exhilarating and stylish shootouts you'll find in cinema. The McManus brothers are a force to be reckoned with, and their vigilantism is portrayed with precision and flair. It's a movie that keeps you on the edge of your seat with its adrenaline-pumping sequences. Beneath the gunfire and humor,
The Boondock Saints raises thought-provoking questions about morality and justice.
They go home every day after work. When they turn on the news, you know what they see? They see rapists and murderers and child molesters. They're all getting out of prison. Mafiosos.
It challenges us to consider whether it's ever acceptable to take the law into your own hands when the system fails.
And everywhere, everyone thinks the same thing. That someone should just go kill those people.
The moral dilemmas add layers of complexity to what could have been a straightforward action film.
Even you've thought about it?
You guys should be in every major city.
What truly cements this movie in my heart are its memorable characters and unforgettable lines. It's the kind of film you watch with friends and soon enough you'll be quoting it together.
Is it dead?
In conclusion, The Boondock Saints is a captivating ride through the darker corners of vigilantism, morality, and humor. If you're a fan of action films that make you ponder deeper questions, this one is a must-watch.
So shall it ever be.
Thanks for joining me on Real Recommendations, and until next time, happy watching.
Hello and welcome to Movie Tea with me, your host, Z. Today's movie is Twilight. Twilight was inspired by a dream had by author Stephenie Meyer of a boy and a girl laying in a meadow, and she knew the boy wanted to kill the girl, which inspired this iconic scene. Despite taking place in Forks, Washington, most of the filming took place in Oregon. The Cullen House is located in Portland, Oregon. Stephenie Meyer makes a cameo in the Forks Diner. The author of the Twilight series can be seen tapping away at her laptop. This is how the franchise actually begun, with Myers typing at her laptop during her free time.
Here's your veggie plate, Stephanie. Hey, sorry I'm late.
During the iconic baseball scene, when the evil nomadic vampires, James, Victoria, and Laurent, appear, they have the effect of gliding through the woods. However, they are actually walking on a piece of machinery called a magic carpet. The device propels the actor forward, giving them the effect of vampiric speed. While Twilight might not be the most well-liked movie by many, it is one of my favorite fall flicks. A rainy fall day is well spent curled up with something warm to drink and Twilight playing on the TV. Thank you for joining me, Z, for Movie Tea. Have a great day and watch movies!
All that we have for this episode of Nerd Central. If you liked it, make sure to hit like and subscribe to KNWT. We'll be back next Wednesday at 6, so hit that bell so you don't miss the next episode of Nerd Central.